Yes, sir. Good morning, sports and fitness rants, and everyone who is here joining us already. And hey, L explicit. Got to tell you, I'm enjoying using that song to warm everybody up on the way in.
Absolutely, AOH. And once again, man, it is great to be back with another Wednesday edition, man, the Wednesday rant. Like I always say, thank you to all you guys that continue to come through and support our channel. I see Renee 43 out there. I see Him. I see Terry Cundiff. I see my man Callie Young. Shout out to all you guys that continue to come through. Armando Ruiz, my man QB2LB. Thank you very much to Wild TV Productions. Go Fly, Cameron MCOC. Shout out to all you guys, like I said, that continue to come through. I see my man Animaniac out there. It really means a lot. I got a lot to rant about today. If you guys are subscribed to my channel, man, and you guys have been seeing the videos that I've been putting out, you guys know, man, we're going to talk about Jason Whitlock. We're going to talk about the House of Highlights. We're going to talk about them clowns, Go James Kingdom, and some of the nonsense that I keep seeing out here, man, that we continue to set the record straight on. And you guys know the deal, man. Let's roll.
Oh man, Robin's coming in hot today, and I'm glad. I told him I can't. I'm so old and angry I can't even watch these shows. I see the headline and I'm like, nope. So I'm gonna let you tell me all about it. But Go Fly, can you explain your message? AOH disabled chat. How do you even type in the chat that the chat is disabled? That what? I'm very confused. What's happening?
Yeah, I don't know. Did I do something?
What the fuck are you talking about, dude? How can you type a message while thinking chat is disabled? I'm very confused. It's got me concerned though, because YouTube is so weird.
Yeah, I don't know. Someone let me know if they're able to communicate with us through the chat, or if they don't see the chat showing up on their stream. He's saying it's just coming up on my side of the stream.
On your side. Anyway, I'll try and figure that out. That sucks.
They trying to silence my man AOH. They coming after AOH.
There's no
coming after the czar.
Exception. What the fuck? I'm looking in YouTube and they say that it's made for kids. It's not fucking made for kids. What are you doing to me?
Made for kids? Yeah, well, definitely not.
Well, anyway, hey, Robin, you probably don't know and probably don't care, but anyone in the chat, this will be the low-hanging fruit. I'm not calling you out, Go Fly. I'm trying to understand what the hell's happening. Because it doesn't make any damn sense. We can see your chats while chat is disabled, so I've got to figure out what exactly that means. Robin, what's can you give me your assessment of Jonathan Kuminga? Because it's year after year after year of Kuminga might help the Warriors, and now it's Kuminga and the Warriors are in a stalemate. And like, can we just move on? Whether he has potential or not, you got to move on.
Yeah, I mean, see, this is becoming, sort of a thing now where, a shout out to you guys, man. I think that was on my end. I think that was me who messed up the chat with me and AOH. I think I had clicked something by accident, and I think I just unclicked it, I think. And hopefully everything should be copacetic now, guys. Thanks for letting us know, though. Shout out to you guys out there in the chat. Once again, I know you guys are assisting us. The theme that we're noticing with a lot of these players is this theme that you're seeing now, guys kind of demanding things, guys, putting their foot down, so to speak, and, acting as if they have some level of cachet when they don't have it. To me, Jonathan Kuminga, what have you really done to level this or warrant this level, of narcissism almost, or audacity to act this way?
And to play devil's advocate, the people that will argue against you will say that it is Steve Kerr or the Warriors' fault that he hasn't done anything, that they're holding him back. I'm not sure about that. Like, I just feel like if you're the man, it's undeniable, and there's no way people are going to keep you off the court if the team could use you that much. But I don't know. The NBA is weird now. Anything's possible.
I mean, but also, we also talk about, what are you really playing for? What are you trying to accomplish out there? And a lot of these guys now are more concerned about how much money they can make for themselves, and about their brand, so to speak. Like I said, a lot of these guys now have shoe deals, and you don't even know who these guys are. Like sometimes you'll be like, oh, this guy has a shoe deal. Like, he has a shoe deal? I didn't know this guy had a shoe deal. Back in the day, like you had to be a legit baller to have a shoe deal, man. You had to be somebody to have a shoe deal. So we talk about these guys with their quote unquote brands. Anyone can have a brand now. I mean, think about all these guys now, what they're doing as far as like we talked about the YouTube space. They're trying to elbow us out of YouTube essentially by all these current players. These are not just ex-NBA players, retired guys. These are current players that have podcasts, man. So once again, we talk about what these guys are more focused on. Are they really worried about winning? Is Jonathan Kuminga 100% focused on winning? Being on a franchise that could possibly win to play with someone like a Steph Curry, a legendary type player? I mean, what's really, like I said, what's in your mind?
What are people saying in the chat? Anyone care?
Yeah, you know what they're saying? Players only care about their brand. Shout to my man, Callie Young. He says facts. This is the thing, man. This is what I'm talking about. Like, it's about people being more. I mean, because think about it. If Andrew Wiggins, for example, I mean, it's a perfect example. No one really was talking about Andrew Wiggins, giving him any credibility or notoriety or anything. And then all of a sudden, he's able to help. He was a key member of the championship team for the Warriors. So that enhance your career more than how much money you made in your career. You know what I'm saying? How much stats you actually put up. He was a contributing member to a championship team. That means a lot on your resume. This guy Kuminga could be a type of dude like that.
Could be. Oh, look who it is. NMB Sports. What is up, dude?
Yo, Nick, come through. Can you come on?
What do y'all think about the WNBA declining the new pay deal? Is this more... I feel like this is the last thing I talked about the WNBA was them complaining about money. Is this another new complaint about money?
Yo, man, listen. Once again, man, shout out to all you guys that came through. Shout out to my man Nick coming through. Meg, I see you out there. Birdman, classic basketball DVDs. Leo Sakari. Thank you, Who Oracle. I see all you guys out there. Brandon on the reel. Thank you very much, guys. I didn't know that they were offered a deal or the details of this, so I'm not going to speak as if I know the details. But I have the same stance regardless. To me, the WNBA players, like I said, are living in a world of audacity. They're living in a world where they don't want to look at the facts and they don't want to come to terms with this stuff. I get it, man. You feel like you want more money. You earn more money. You deserve more money. Everyone thinks this. We all feel this stuff, man. But once again, you have to look at the reality sometimes. Sometimes people want more money or they want more things in life, but they're not willing to put in the work to do those things. They're not willing to go get the education or go get the credentials, learn the requirements to get these jobs, but they want more money. The women have to go through these kinds of things. This is what I was talking about before.
I saw somebody just chatted about, are they still throwing dildos on the floor?
What? Were they really?
I saw that happened, and I care so little about the WNBA that even that didn't get me to click on the video. But apparently this happened.
I mean, AOH deserves more money, man. I mean, my goodness. A lot of people out here doing things. A lot of the common folks, man. The commoners that a lot of these people look down at. Once again, these people who talk down on people who got to go out there and earn every day. Those people deserve raises, man.
Paul from the basketball show said he would do a Sunday live. Hope you guys reach out. It would be great. Oh, you mean he wants to come on here?
Yeah, man. I'll try to reach out to that dude if I can. Absolutely.
All right. As long as
I tagged him in a video recently, so absolutely. Thank you, my man. 20K. My man, 20 grand. What's good?
It's not that serious. Is that US dollars? My God.
It's not that serious.
It's still not good enough. We need more money. I think we should go on strike, Robin. Let me tell you something.
They know.
What would happen to us is what should happen to the WNBA players. We would disappear into oblivion. And what little money we do make would stop, which is the WNBA needs to be thankful that they exist at all. It's not that serious. Says to my favorite duo on YouTube, keep telling the truth and exposing lies and narratives. Cheers, fellas. Hey, be careful. Don't compliment us. We'll get our egos and just start wearing T-shirts that say "Pay us what you owe us."
Yo, man, listen, that really means a lot. Shout out to It's Not That Serious. Those words, my favorite duo on YouTube. Like I said, it means a lot. Like I said, me and LOH, like I said, the dynamic that we have going on, like I said, we've been coming all summer long with you guys. And like I said, it means a lot all the time. And I thank you guys in every video, every live stream. We always are thanking you guys because it does mean a lot, that you guys come through, you interact, you donate. Like I said, you take time out of your days to listen to us. We laugh and we joke about some of this money stuff and how much people get paid and how much they don't get paid. And I'm never concerned about money. If people follow my channel, they understand, where I come from and how I look at a lot of this stuff. But the reality is such, man. Sometimes I'll do a bunch of videos and I'll give a lot of effort doing this stuff. And a lot of people like AOH and others put a lot of effort into these videos. But the reality for someone like me is that I don't have the platform like a lot of these other big YouTubers. So the money that they might be making, even if it's not up to the level of quality that maybe people think that me and someone like AOH are putting out, the reality is I don't have the platform they have, and that's the bottom line. So I don't have the subscribers. I don't get the views that these people get, no matter what I say or do. So once again, there comes a level that you have to go through, right? This is a road that I'm on. This is all it is, guys. Nothing's promised tomorrow. We're going down this road, man. And maybe one day we'll be at a certain level. Maybe one day we won't. But the fakes will always remain, guys.
And there's very specific reasons that our channels exist. Something inspired us to form this as a source of truth for documentation for the future. And that's what was on my mind when I saw this, when I saw the garbage coming out. And I remember, do you guys remember it was at the end of the season? God, what was it? It was like a one-liner from that guy that only puts out a video every 5 years, disappointment or coming up short or something like that about LeBron James. And in it, he's talking about all these pundits and these plants that are making their careers based on praising LeBron James. And at one point he goes, "Who is this? No, seriously, who is this?" And I feel exactly the same way. Who in the hell is this goofy shit? But regardless of who he actually is, I'll tell you the difference between him and me in sports and fitness rants. I felt like I had to tell the truth after listening and watching lies year after year after year. I was inspired by lies. I didn't just wake up and say, you know what? I bet you I could make money shitting on LeBron James. There's a very good reason that we're here doing what we're doing. Now, this clown featured in the thumbnail here, by contrast, you can very, very clearly see in the timeline and how he was introduced that his role, his job, his strategy is to get on board with the LeBron James praise bandwagon. And that's why he exists. I don't think that that's well, I certainly don't think it's more commendable than combating a narrative. That's the hard way. The easy route would be for us to be on the bandwagon and suck off LeBron like everyone else does. But we were never going to be YouTubers about sports just for the sake of talking about sports. I'm here because I was like, this shit has gone too far. I'm watching LeBron James play like dog shit while the world is saying, wow, that was amazing. I'm like, what? What's happening? Anyway, I don't know how much you want to talk about this guy. Was this one on your radar?
Well, you know what's funny? And shout out to Uncut Hoops as usual, man. He's always coming through with quality work. I did not get a chance or an opportunity to watch this particular video. I've been ranting and raving and doing my own thing over the last couple of days. But as soon as I saw the thumbnail for the video, I recognized this fool right here. And I did a video, I don't know, maybe over a couple months back. And I highlighted, and the thumbnail of my video was this guy in particular. He was the same guy, just to remind everybody, the video that I'm talking about. He was the same guy that was talking about how LeBron James, resting on the basketball court, standing around, doing the things that we talk about that we can't stand that LeBron James does on the defensive end. he was talking about that was LeBron James being high IQ and doing smart basketball and picking and choosing on the defensive end and on the basketball court. And that's what's allowed him to have the longevity the way that he's been able to do it. So he was going the opposite route with that. He was saying that was high IQ play of basketball by LeBron James. And we're all saying that's LeBron James standing around and doing the damn thing. That's that
guy. That's my same mission, says King Speech Row. Hey,
wait, hold on. You said something there before, you put this, when you put the thumbnail up, about these kinds of guys and the excuse making that in order for you to support LeBron James the way that these guys do. This is what we're alluding to. If you're going to support this kind of content, then you have to understand when I say, I can't support Michael Jordan and support someone like LeBron James. And it's very clear to me. I said before, if Michael Jordan would have done some of the things that LeBron James has done in his career, I would not be a supporter of him. If Michael Jordan, for example, in 1991, instead of coming back to try to beat the Pistons that season, if he would have went and joined Patrick Ewing in order to do it, I would have looked at it differently. We would have viewed it differently at that time. For example, in 1995, when Michael Jordan came back from baseball, and people were talking about how Michael Jordan was looking a little off. He didn't quite look like Michael Jordan. And they went against the Orlando Magic. And he faltered the way that he faltered. And he took the heat the way that he did. The Orlando Magic celebrated the way they did. Did he walk off the court early on them? He didn't walk off the court early on those guys like LeBron James did. We didn't see Michael Jordan in those moments did it. He wasn't a sore loser. There were many moments. Did Michael Jordan have Scottie Pippen traded in 1990 or 1989? No, he held on to Scottie Pippen. He helped develop Scottie Pippen. These are the things that Michael Jordan didn't do that LeBron James did do.
I think what you're saying that envelops everything is the style of play, the approach to the game, the approach to competitiveness. That's what inspires people to watch. And, somebody early on in this said, well, how is Jordan better than Russell? Look, you can have Russell as number one if you want. I don't have a problem with that. I have a problem with this clown show who, when he's on the court, is embarrassing to look at. What's the inspiration, people? How does he inspire you? Like I've said before, Jordan could have 3 rings. LeBron could have 10. And I would still have Jordan over LeBron based on how they play, based on how they approach the game, the attitude. And that's more important than anything, in my opinion. That's more important than winning. Last time we were on, we talked about, winning isn't everything and whether or not that's a good thing to say or not. It isn't. How you play is more important. Winning is extremely important because that is why you play. But winning the wrong way takes away the whole point of playing to win.
Yep. That's right. That's right, OH. That's right, man.
And, Uncut, I did watch the first few minutes of that. And, actually I got through the whole thing because it was fairly short. I was going to say no offense, but like I get angry too fast and I can't, it's the same damn shit over and over again. Someone just arrogantly declaring that today's players are better as if it's a no-brainer. Clearly today's players have evolved to another level. And I understand why that would be the default thought, because as time goes on, you would think that is what happened. You would think that people get better over time. They're not. Guys, they can't even dribble. It's the 3-point age, and they miss more threes than the guys that you're saying were unskilled miss. They take fucking 5 steps in order to get to the rim instead of 2. What's more skilled about that? And they don't look like men playing. Listen, LeBron James is a big dude. He takes one elbow to the head the way Isaiah Thomas did from Karl Malone. Bye. Retiring early.
Yo, that's a great segue, man, into the GOAT James Kingdom, fools. And something that they've been posted, or they posted the other day, or something I did a video on today, when you talk about the Detroit Pistons, and they talked about what LeBron James would have done against the bad boy Pistons, the same thing that he did against the 2007 Detroit Pistons, and they made that corny post. And you talk about LeBron James and the physicality of the era that we're talking about, and you talk about LeBron James laying on the ground now. This man's rolling on the ground playing peekaboo now in the 2020s, and they're talking about him doing something to the bad boy Pistons that he did to the '07 Pistons. So once again, these are talk about when you talk about some of the guys and that what they're saying the same things over and over again. They're doing and talking about the same Nick Wright and Shannon Sharp talking points that you hear these clowns out there saying in the mainstream.
Oh, you'll like this one. Another line from that goofy bastard that is employed because he praises LeBron James. He said that Jokic is discernibly better than everyone else around him. That's funny because I thought that the ESPN people were still saying that that LeBron was the best in the league and the best conditioned and the best passer and the best scorer. All these absurd things. So, but forget LeBron. I think Jokic, when I watch him, it's pretty impressive. His vision, his awareness, his he doesn't look athletic, but his brain and body are clicking with some of the plays that he makes, which I guess I would consider to be athletic. But I don't buy that he's head and shoulders above everyone else. I don't think that's fair. I think the way he does what he does is unique, but like to suddenly say that no one else in the league is even close to Jokic, that one, and he said it as if there's no questions to be asked. It's like clearly Jokic is like the only person worth even mentioning these days. Like, how is that not pissing people off?
Yeah, you're making some great points, LH. You're talking about the Nikola Jokic and some of the, we talk about athleticism and some of these guys and versus their skills and what they're able to do. We mentioned Luka Doncic many times and how he's not necessarily one of these super athletes or someone who uses athleticism to get by. He's not a high flyer or some of these guys that's going to, sprint past you. He uses more of his skill game, right? He uses more of what he can do overall on the court. Like you said, you mentioned Jokic's awareness, his ability to see different things on the court, see things before they happen almost, right? Put guys in good spots, right? So, that kind of goes to the game that we see right now in the court. When you take away the physicality, right? You take away some of the way the game is played like that, and you allow, right, on top of this, you allow these guys to manipulate the rules of the game. So now you allow these guys that are skilled, that are athletes, to carry the ball and take extra steps now. So this is what we're saying. Like, this is why we talk about these things not really adding up, because you're allowing guys that are already great athletes and already really skilled. Let's not be real. I mean, let's be real here. These are NBA basketball players. And now you're allowing them to manipulate the rules and give them even more of an advantage, right? So this is why we always say, if these guys are so skilled, they should be being held to a higher standard, not a lesser standard. But with the overall laxing of the rules and of the physicality of the game, it allows lesser athletic guys and more skilled guys to do something out here. I mean, think about someone like Steph Curry. He's not a freak athlete. Even someone like Jalen Brunson and the things that he can do on the basketball court. Not saying that these guys are not athletic or not athletes in of themselves. We're talking about on the NBA level, right? We're comparing you to the other contemporaries. These guys are using more of a skill-based game. Even Tyrese Halliburton. Is anyone thinking of him as a crazy, super, supreme athlete? No. But then you look at someone like Zion Williamson. This dude can't stay on the court. But we talk about how athletic he is.
I'm reading some of these comments, just imagining LeBron trying to play back with the bad boy Pistons or any of these other guys. And I'm just thinking about how society would have booed him out of the league if he tried to pull any of those tactics. Like if he just stayed on the floor for 5 minutes per graze to the head as he does now, or running around like his head's on fire and all the other weird shit that he's done out there. He wouldn't even have had to been chased out of the league by the toughness of the other players. Society wouldn't have accepted putting a clown like that on television. The announcers wouldn't have edited their commentary the way that they do now.
Yep.
You know, today it's like, oh my God, this must be a really, really serious injury. I mean, even though it's the fifth one of the game, but let's keep pretending that LeBron James has just suffered the most horrendous injury ever. They're not saying that shit back then. They're like, okay, this is getting old. Pick yourself up. Are you a pro athlete or not? Are you a man? Maybe you shouldn't be in the league. Like, announcers would have literally said that shit after the fifth time LeBron pulled LeBron shit.
Right. I mean,
And he wouldn't have, he wouldn't have had a podcast to go on and tell the world how wrong the announcers were.
I mean, like you said, when we talk about LeBron James and you're saying all this stuff with the physicality in the game and all this stuff, the development, the lack of developments, that's what you needed. What physicality did a lot of times in previous eras, going all the way back to the 50s, the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, the early 2000s, what physicality does, or it allows some of these lesser athletic guys to do on the defensive end, if you're allowed to use physicality, it can take away from some of your athleticism. So Michael Jordan, being the supreme athlete that he was at the time, some of the supreme athletes, the Will Chamberlains, right, the Dr. J's, the Elgin Baylors, some of these guys that were super athletic, that could do all these things on the court, they were being played physically though. So it was able to negate and take away from some of the athletic advantage that they had. When you watch a lot of these lesser guys play defense against Michael Jordan, the quote-unquote lesser guys, what are they allowed to do? They're allowed to use a certain level of physicality against Michael Jordan, right, which will negate some of his ability to get free from these guys, right? So it forces you to develop more of an overall game, to work on the fundamentals, your footwork, right, and also develop go-to moves, spots on the court where you can be effective, because you're not going to have the ability to just run all over the court and do whatever you want to do. When the Go James Kingdom clowns were making this assessment, they're making this post on their channel. They're trying to act as if LeBron James running downhill into the Detroit Pistons, the bad boy Pistons of the late 80s, early 90s, would have been effective. It would not have been effective to a degree at all. Because once again, we talk about the level of standard that was held officiating. LeBron James can't barrel into guys all day long. They're going to call offensive fouls. This man's going to get called for travels and carries up and down the court, man. And like I said, the Detroit Pistons were known for being a very good defensive team, but not just because they had great individual defenders like Dennis Rodman and Joe Dumars, but they had a great team defense. Guys that understood where to be, how to get to spots and block off lanes. But LeBron James would have been out there offensive fouling all day long out there.
You said something when talking about Goat James Kingdom that stood out to me. Would have. Quote unquote would have. Everything these people talk about is what it would have, what might have, what could have. Because right. LeBron just doesn't get it done. They have to live in the world of, oh, if this and oh, if that.
Exactly. That's exactly what it was.
I saw something this morning and it made me think of Matthew Dellavedova. And, you know, I was just thinking, what did Matthew Dellavedova do that was so bad? You know, and what did he have going against him that was the worst? Is it that he was a white guy and that he automatically gets lowered to, oh, how good of a help could he have been? Is it that he was Australian? That he was a multi-sport athlete? I mean, that should speak credit to him. But you know, he and others just got listed as garbage. Mm-hmm. I thought the guy fucking played pretty damn hard. I know he successfully took some people out as a dirty player. He used his rugby skills to injure some people on the Cavs' path to the finals.
Listen, I gave Matthew Dellavedova props several times on my channel. And I've mentioned him before when we allude to LeBron James and the quote-unquote lack of help that he did or didn't have, and him making plays around him better. Because sometimes you'll hear people bring up Matthew Dellavedova, and they'll say, well, he made Matthew Dellavedova better. You look at the contract that Matthew Dellavedova received from the Milwaukee Bucks, I believe it was, because of the effort that he gave during those finals runs for the Cleveland Cavaliers, that second stint for LeBron James. But the one thing we have to understand, if we go back to the 2015 NBA Finals, which is to me where Matthew Dellavedova really, made a name for himself, I've often said Matthew Dellavedova played so good in that NBA Finals, he gave so much effort that they talked about him having to receive oxygen on the side, him having to receive oxygen in the locker room, giving so much effort on the court. But also think about the way that Steph Curry was being played by Matthew Dellavedova in that series. If you guys remember watching that 2015 NBA series, I'm sure you were watching that AOH. If you look at the way, if you remember the way Matthew Dellavedova played, the effort that he gave has nothing to do with LeBron James making him better or doing anything out there specifically. That was Matthew Dellavedova going out there. And what was he doing? He was providing help for LeBron James. He was playing a role out there. And why was Matthew Dellavedova playing this role, guys? Let's remember the scenario. Kyrie Irving went down after game 1 with the kneecap, right? So Matthew Dellavedova essentially steps into a lead role now at the point guard position. He essentially has to step his game up. He has to fill it for Kyrie freaking Irving. And Matthew Dellavedova goes in there and he busts his ass, man. He gives effort. People will make jokes and laugh about Matthew Dellavedova and who the hell is he? And look at the scratches he was leaving on Steph Curry and look at the way that he was allowed to play Steph Curry. This is what we're talking about, guys, when we talk about the way the game was played back in previous eras. The way that Matthew Dellavedova was allowed to play that game, the way that he was hustling and playing against Steph Curry, he was doing what I told you. He was nowhere near as skilled or as athletic as Steph Curry. So what did he use? He used physicality to once again negate Steph Curry to a degree where Steph Curry didn't even win his Finals MVP, man. And Steph Curry averaged almost 4.5, 5 turnovers per game in that series. There's a lot to do with Matthew Dellavedova and the effort he gave, man. So we talk about them being up 2-1 in that series. You had someone like Timofey Mozgov, another white guy who stepped up and once again was balling out of control. And why was he doing this? Because he had to do it because Kevin Love went down. So we talk about guys stepping up, but not getting recognition from the LeBron James fans. They're more worried about Michael Jordan's teammates.
Mozgov was a monster. That's a big boy. Let's catch up on some supers. Praise the Dawn said they want to count MJ losing in the first and second round, labeling those runs as failures, but won't use LeBron's losses in the first 2 rounds. Hate his fans. Yeah, man. I've done several videos on this, and I just have to make peace with. I've tried. They're just going to keep repeating their lies because it makes them feel better. But yeah, McZuggins, I appreciate it. King, praise the Dawn. I don't know what to say. It's frustrating. They're going to believe what they want to believe until whatever that point in time is that something finally clicks. McZuggins, yeah, I'll be interested to hear how competitiveness is decentivized. And Armando Ruiz says the illusion of LBJ dies when he retires. Go away. Thank you for the super, Armando.
For real. Shout out to my man Armando Ruiz for coming through. Like I said, the true supporters out there. Much respect to you guys, man. My man DC33, what's going on?
And Cameron, LeBron James, the Steven Seagal.
The Steven Seagal.
Of pro athletes.
And you know what's funny is like you think about LeBron James and the transformation of LeBron James over the years, and you think about the transformation of Steven Seagal.
Dana Green points out Wiggins finally reaching his potential with the Golden State system, which he couldn't do in Minnesota. And of course, we know Wiggins was traded away from the Cavaliers from day one in order to bring in stars, in order to be used as a piece to bring in already established stars, because LeBron James can't develop anybody. Praise the Dawn is back with another super. Go ahead, Robin.
Yeah, shout out to Praise the Dawn. Laimbeer would have gave LeBron an early retirement. Yeah, absolutely. Shout out to you, Praise the Dawn. You know, we talk about that Detroit Pistons team and some of the things that they were known for doing. You know, we talk about dirty tactics and things of that nature. We talk about a lot of times after the whistle, some of the things that the Detroit Pistons were doing. And remember, it was Bill Laimbeer hitting Scottie Pippen in the head with an elbow in Game 6 of the 89 Eastern Conference Finals that put Scottie Pippen out of the game after only playing 2 minutes in that series. So we're talking about a lot of the, things that happened for Scottie Pippen early in his career, the things that Michael Jordan had to, go through. Would LeBron James would have been willing to go through those trials and tribulations, those growing pains essentially with Scottie Pippen? right? Like he mentioned the other super with Andrew Wiggins. You know, he didn't want to go through that with Andrew Wiggins. That was the whole thing, right? He wanted the Cleveland Cavaliers to trade the first pick for Kevin Love. He wasn't willing to go there unless they got Kevin Love.
Wouldn't that have been something for LeBron to be ended by someone as unathletic looking as Bill Laimbeer? And again, looks aren't everything, people. You know, I would still take Charles Barkley over LeBron James. Barkley does not have the gym muscles, but when he wants to get physical, suddenly he's at the rim. And I think Barkley would have more balls to dunk on people, even though he's significantly shorter than LeBron James. The number of wide open dunks in LeBron James's highlight reels is very disturbing to me. I'm not sure how excited people can get about shit like that. You want to read the real Siberius for us?
Yeah, absolutely. Would've, could've, and should've are pretty lies people tell themselves to masquerade their insecurities and disappointments into false realities. Yo, shout out to the real Siberians, always dropping some jewels out here.
Absolutely.
Because remember, guys, ultimately it would have been mentally that LeBron James would have had to beat the Pistons. That's what it would have came down to. LeBron James would not have been mentally prepared. He would not have been mentally able to get past them dudes. He would not have the fortitude. So that's what I'm saying. Essentially, LeBron James would have went and joined Patrick Ewing and essentially brought Charles Barkley with him, because that's essentially would have been the same thing. Because you're talking about two guys from your conference joining up on one team, making them a powerhouse team. The only slight difference would have been Patrick Ewing wouldn't have been a champion at the time. None of those guys would have been champions. They would have just been three guys teaming up to get past a back-to-back champion. A back-to-back champion. LeBron James went and teamed up because he lost a couple of times in the playoffs.
Are you familiar with the reference to, almost... When anyone says, I almost did this, it reminds me of the woulda, shoulda, coulda thing. But like when I would say, I almost made it. And my dad, God bless him, would be like, almost is only good in horseshoes and hand grenades. Like, how much praise do you want for almost? Keep working.
And that's the sad thing. Like I said, they're always trying to make it an excuse for something. There's no need or no reason for these people to continue to just make the excuses.
Praise the Dawn says up 2-1 in 2015, and his fans still make excuses.
Right, exactly. 2-1. And like I said, if you look at the end of those games, you put the video footage out before, you look at the end of those games, man. Go look at the ends of games 4, the ends of games 5. This is part of the reason why we talk about Michael Jordan being undefeated and someone like LeBron James not being undefeated. It's moments like that. When you look at LeBron James, like you just mentioned, AOH, there's no one that you've seen more. He missed a lot of layups, LeBron James. He missed several layups at the end of those finals games, guys. Go watch the tape. I'm not lying about this.
And at the time, I think I was just so relieved for the Cavs to lose that I didn't spend that much time analyzing how good or bad the Warriors were. But I got to wonder. I don't know. How do people feel about those Warriors teams, especially when on one hand, LeBron fans will pretend that like LeBron played against the best competition ever, the best teams ever. And then you look at some of the other things that the Warriors did, and it's like, man, how did you guys even make it to the finals? Like things had to line up perfectly for them. But then also along the way, we had Steph Curry doing shit that was crazy. I mean, just crazy. He was making Chris Paul look like a damn idiot.
Word.
Through in case anyone's chomping at the bit to shit on Stephen A. Smith, we will get to that, or at least I was gonna make room for that. Is that on your agenda, Robin? I know you came in with a lot to talk about.
Yeah, I wanna touch on these Jason Whitlock comments real quick, man.
Hold on. We will do that, but read Austin Casey, who gave a very nice super.
Okay, yeah, absolutely. Shout out to Austin Casey for coming through. Back in the day, some of us not only admired our favorite athletes' skills, but also looked up to them for their morale, character, and sportsmanship. It's
Yeah.
hard to find such athletes in this era, in my honest opinion. Yeah, absolutely. Shout out to Austin Casey. That means a lot. These are things that I allude to on my channel. How these guys carried themselves, right? How they reviewed them, based off of those aspects and attributes.
Yeah, I'm not afraid to admit that without good role models, I would have turned out even worse than I did. Because there's a piece of us, especially when we're young, that is looking for a way out, that is looking for a shortcut. And you need to see somebody in a position of authority leading by example and saying, nope, do not take the shortcut. In the end, it's going to hurt you. And
Absolutely.
now we have the shortcut guys.
Yep.
Fucking, ugh.
No, I mean
Okay.
that means a lot. That matters a lot, Airways, what you're saying, man, because we have to really let this resonate. What we see now is what guys get on the microphone now and they continue to talk about themselves. Now everyone, oh, I'm the greatest this, I'm that, oh, I'm this. So everyone pumps themselves up. No one pays homage to the past. No one has humility. We use that word a lot here. No one's humble anymore. Everyone thinks they're the greatest, like we mentioned. Everyone thinks they're the freaking brand now. Who the hell did think you have a brand? You're no one special. Everyone thinks they're a victim now. Everyone plays the victim now. All this stuff is important that we highlight these guys because, like we mentioned, when we talk about how guys showed up to work back in the day, the professional athletes, remember, we didn't know these guys personally. What we saw is what they showed us out there on the court or the field, the ice, whatever it was that they played on. These guys showed up to work regularly. They showed up. So once again, we looked at a lot of these professional athletes as almost indestructible. We looked at these guys as almost superhero-like because we were like, damn, these guys are tough, man. These guys are going out there. They're pounding each other. They're doing this. They're battling. They're showing up to work every night. Every time you turn the TV on, these freaking guys were there, man. So they started to develop a certain mystique around professional athletes. What it took to be a professional athlete. You were like, damn, you gotta be tough, man, to play in the NBA. You gotta be tough to be an NFL football player. You gotta have grit and heart to be a hockey player. You gotta go out there and show some effort, man. You gotta show up to work every day. Those guys did that stuff. So once again, we looked at them with a certain level of respect.
Speaking of people who haven't done anything and yet still have a brand, Pinky P, Podcast P.
Pinky P. Don't get me started on Pinky P.
Well, I am. And I saw the thumbnail of him, and I don't know who he's talking to, but they're going to talk about two sides to every story about PJ Carlesimo getting choked by what's his name when he was with the Warriors.
Latrell Sprewell.
And here, yeah, Latrell. And here's the deal. I don't even want. I'm not going to watch it, and I'm going to ask you: do I need to? Because is there, like, listen, we've all not liked coaches, and we've all disagreed with coaches. What are they going to say on that podcast? What story are we going to hear that's going to tell the world it's okay to choke your coach? Because that's all I'm expecting. It's like if we need to hear two sides to every story, you're basically going to say that Latrell was justified in choking his coach. Is anyone ever justified in choking their coach? I'm serious. Maybe there are occasions.
I mean, listen, I mean, like I said, see, these are the kinds of scenarios, these are the kinds of stories that, I mean, listen, if people want to share these kinds of details or to a personal story like this, then that's fine. Then they can do that. They can say these kinds of things. To me, I'd rather hear something like that, like some gossip, some TMZ type stuff, than have these clowns come on here and continue to try to rewrite history. To me, that's where they lose me. If you guys want to come out here and tell stories about yourselves and, the things that you did out in town and, some of the behind the scenes crap, and like I said, you want to tell some personal stories like this and you want to make, jokes and stuff, okay. But when guys start coming out and talking about, oh, these guys in the past weren't this great, or, they start trying to make excuses for stuff and, like I said, trying to rewrite the history, this is where you lose me, man. I'm not with it.
Yeah. Sprewell just taking advantage of this retroactive forgiveness for previous shitty behavior. I didn't want to spend too much time on that. I just want
I
to
mean,
put it out
that's
there.
interesting, LH, because I didn't even know that, something like this, was happening. And like you said, everyone now can make a quick buck if you have a story to tell. And this is why I tell you, this is why it's hard and it's important to remain and hold on to your integrity, ladies and gentlemen. Because anyone can come out here and just start telling stories. Ladies and gentlemen, I got a lot of stories to tell, guys. And I don't have to lie. I can tell you some really interesting and funny stories of experiences of my life. I've shared a lot of interesting and funny stories from my life. And I'm not highlighting or exaggerating these stories. And I'm not telling these stories for monetary or any of this stuff. I'm not changing, altering these stories for any reasons. So when we talk about integrity and a lot of these people coming out here and talking about what they did in their life and how they did a situation or how a situation went down, let's be real. A lot of these people are exaggerating these stories to high hell, man. Then once again, they're trying to put themselves in a certain light. Everyone will never be honest with themselves and put themselves as the bad guy and tell a true, honest story. Everybody wants to make the story and put themselves in the good light. No one really gives a damn at this point as far as Latrell Sprewell and all that stuff. But if he can make some money off a story, then why not you make some money, get some clicks and views?
Like the Morris twin. Like some people have told me that, God damn, my brain ain't working this morning. Matt Barnes's podcast is sometimes good, but he had that Morris twin come on in order to tell the world that he was justified to be mad at Jokic, when the bottom line of what Morris did was that he made a dirty hit into Jokic's exposed ribs and then turned his back immediately. Dude, you don't go pick a fight and then expect to be protected by the fact that you turn your back on the fight that you just picked. And they're on this podcast talking about, oh yeah, he snook me. You know, he what we call the snooking. He came up and took me from behind. And let me tell you something, things would have been different if this and if that. Bullshit. Don't turn your back after you do a dirty hit on somebody if you're going to talk shit later. If you're the man, then stand there next to what you just did instead of hoping to be protected by the fact that you're fleeing the scene of the crime.
Yo, absolutely, Airways. You're on the money again, man. When you talk about that play from Marcus Morris or Marquise, I can't remember which one it was. When you talk about what he did, those are cowardly actions, man. Those are the actions of the guys you guys remember from school. The guy that would start a fight and then get behind everybody. Yo, don't hold me back, man. Don't hold me back. But ain't no one trying to hold you back, man. Go ahead, do what you got to do. You one of them hold me back kind of guys, man. Run your mouth and then hide behind everybody. Only start trouble, you know what I'm saying, when the teachers are around. You want to run your mouth. But when it's just you and them, you ain't got nothing to say. We all know people like that, man. So when we talk about the actions of these people, let's think about Nikola Jokic. I tell people all the time, you need to understand where some of these people are really coming from and some of these other countries that they live in. Nikola Jokic and some of the conditions that he's lived in, these people in America, they don't know nothing about a lot of this kind of stuff, man. They don't understand about a lot of the wars and the things that they have to worry about in a lot of these other countries, man. I tell you people all the time, man, you go to some of these other countries, man, these people are worried about bombs and stuff, man. They don't know what's happening out here sometimes, man. So you have to understand the reality. You look at Nikola Jokic's family, you see his brothers out there in the stands. Do these guys look like they're playing games? These are serious looking individuals, man. These are guys that probably were pounded on Nikola Jokic growing up. I know I was beating on my younger brothers growing up, and they were all tougher and better off for these kinds of things. So once again, man, we talk about Nikola Jokic and the way that I've seen him play the game. He don't come across to me as some punk dude or some soft ass dude, man. So like I said, when you do something like that and then you try to turn around and turn your back, what you think's gonna happen to you, man? It's almost like, back in the day, you used to watch these movies and the guy would turn around and be, yo, you ain't gonna shoot me in my back. You can't shoot me in my back. The hell I can't. Don't turn around like a coward. You better stand tall.
I'm gonna stay on this topic for a little bit of justifying the past with new versions of today, because some guy said, I've noticed it a bit lately though, like Reggie Miller basically saying the Malice in the Palace was justified. No, Walton was right. It was a disgrace. Here's what you inspired me to think about. I think I heard during that documentary, or the 30 by 30, 30 for 30 or whatever it was. Mm-hmm. I don't know. They tried to make it sound like Ron Artest did the right thing by going and laying on the scorer's table. Oh, he's taking himself out of the mix, etc. Who the fuck are you to go lay on the scorer's table? I just stop and think about this for a minute. He's a good guy for going and laying on the scorer's table? What kind of fucking behavior is that? Go sit on the goddamn bench like you're supposed to. Who the fuck do you think you are? Go sit on the goddamn bench. And let me take it a step further. So I don't know if the person who threw the water cup was aiming at him or just happened to hit him. But the next thing you have to say is that because he got some goddamn drink on him, he deserves to just go off like he's going to murder people in the stands. He got a drink on him. LeBron spilled a goddamn drink on somebody flopping against the Nuggets. Maybe that place should have erupted too. I mean, you can justify anything if you're looking for an excuse.
Listen, I'll say this, okay, about a scenario like that, a very serious scenario, by the way. You talk about the things that happened at the Master of the Palace and what that meant for a lot of NBA players. Let's be real, that scenario jacked up a lot of NBA careers. It forced people to look at a lot of scenarios that could have happened for the Indiana Pacers. A lot of people thought that they had a chance to win a championship that season. A lot of people thought that, that could have been a chance for Reggie Miller to get a championship ring. So we talk about what that scenario did, the impact on the players and the franchises. We have to understand, look at it that way. The one thing I'll say about this, when you talk about Ron Artest, when you talk about you're at an NBA basketball game and you're a civilian, and I don't know who the person was that threw the drink, right? That instigated to set the whole thing into motion here. When you go to one of these events, right, you're responsible, right? Let's understand this. You're responsible for your actions. Your actions, you're responsible for them. So, essentially, what I'm saying here, no one said Ron Artest is right. No one said he wasn't right. No one said him laying on the scorer's table was a classy move, a smart move. It was a dumb move. But look who it is. It's Ron Artest. He's not a highly intelligent person, guys. Let's be real here. Ron Artest is not somebody that you want to say is representing, the black community to a degree, right? This guy was a little off when we watched him play. You remember the James Harden incident, right? When he just whacked off on James Harden. I don't like James Harden that much either, but still, it was a weird thing for him to do if you talk about Ron Artest. So let's understand who it is. But even though Ron Artest is doing this, he's putting himself in a position to be heckled or whatever the case may be. That person that threw that drink out there, like you just said, LH, maybe their intention was not to hit Ron Artest. Maybe their intention was not to instigate anything to that degree. They didn't think that maybe they would hit someone and that maybe one of these freaking guys would come out here and put their hands on you. So I go back to what I said earlier. You are responsible for your actions. So you threw that drink, and guess what, my man? You hit this dude. And guess what? That dude came after you. So either knuckle up and don't act shocked when the dude came out there, and don't try to blame him or sue him and play the victim in that scenario, because you put yourself ultimately there. You put yourself there with that dude.
Oh, I'm not saying that guy doesn't deserve consequences, but do you think that every time you feel angry, you should be able to express that anger however you think you should? And Ron Artest didn't even know who threw it. He just went fucking running. I don't even think he went after the right guy, if I understand correctly.
Once again, I'm going to say it again.
Okay.
When you talk about putting yourself in a scenario, you're in a public forum now, guys. Listen, I say this when it comes to racism. And when you hear NBA players and other athletes talk about what was said to them in a game or something, I always say the same thing. If these people in a public forum like that, an arena with thousands of people, there are dozens of people within your earshot, if they're willing to put themselves in harm's way to scream some racial stuff or to say something crazy outlandish, then you have to be prepared for what comes at you. There might be some people behind you that don't like that take offense to this and come down on you. There might be some people right next to you that don't like what you said. But if they're able to say this and have no repercussions, that speaks to the people around them and the forum that they're at. That's number one. So when we talk about these people doing those kinds of things, I always say, man, that's on those people, man. They're the ones saying this stuff and doing this stuff. If they feel that, or they're that brave, they have that kind of bravado, I'll give you guys a perfect example of what I'm saying. I told you guys before, I've told this story before. I was invited to a Philadelphia Eagles football game about 10 years ago, right? This is when I worked at another job. I was working at the jail, man, and one of the guys I worked with offered me a ticket to go with him. He had season tickets. He was a huge Eagles fan, this freaking guy. So we're at the he's telling me asking me to go to the Eagles game if I want to go. He tells me, listen, man, I know you're a big-time New York Giants fan. They're playing the Giants, right? He goes, I know how you are, man. You're loud, you're aggressive. I know you're a big Giants fan. He's like, do me a favor. Don't wear any Giant stuff to this game. And the reason he's telling me this is because he's understanding that things can happen to you here. You're putting yourself in a scenario. So if I'm going to wear a Giants jersey at a Philadelphia Eagles game in Philadelphia, then I have to be willing to put myself out there and perhaps get assaulted. Perhaps have to defend myself from somebody because people are fucking crazy, man. They're flipping crazy.
I mean, like I can blame. I didn't go to the black hole when the Raiders were in Oakland wearing a "fuck the Raiders" shirt and go sit in the black hole and expect there not to be consequences. You know, you know, that's instigating. I don't know. I just
people have been killed in parking lots, man. That's why I said this is a serious thing we're talking about, guys. This ain't funny, man. People go out there and they get all rah-rah, and all of a sudden you're in a parking lot, and what happened? You put yourself in a scenario where you're facing down a group of people or some crazy person, man, that took it too far. Is that person right for taking your life at a football game? Hell no. But the person who got killed has to take some culpability. If we think about some of these scenarios, sometimes people don't know when to back down and shut the hell up. Like I said, you have to understand where you are sometimes. You have to realize this. It matters, man. I told you, I remember I went to a Giants game. I went to a freaking Giants game, man. And they're playing against the Chicago Bears. And it's at MetLife Stadium. And there were some Bears fans wearing Bears jerseys there, guys. I'm there with my wife, man, right? And all of a sudden, what happens, guys? You mix alcohol with football. Right? And all of a sudden, you have a deadly combination here. The Bears fans are getting rowdy. They're in New York, man. They're in New York, and they're getting rowdy. Who do you think you are? Once again, you put yourself in a bad scenario. What ends up happening to these people? All of a sudden, drinks start raining down on their heads. This wasn't happening to the Bears fans. Then the guy wants to stand up and get tough. And what happens? He's surrounded by a group of people. And it gets really dangerous. My wife is panicking because it's right in front of me, man. And this is the stuff that I'm talking about. All of a sudden, I'm in a scenario now because of these guys drinking, getting loud, and you're in New York. Understand where you are and understand when to shut the hell up.
I like what Meg just put here. In 92, a troll was reading the Jordan rules in MJ and Scotty's ear right behind the bench.
Yep.
All they did was laugh. Both fan and players didn't cross the line. Well, see, if MJ or Scotty had decided to react differently, like they diffused the situation. Now, if they hadn't and had attacked that fan, we might not be saying that neither side crossed the line. You might be saying that that fan crossed the line by having read that. I'm not saying that he did. I'm just saying that now the narrative starts in an attempt to justify people's behavior. And really the theme here is defuse the situation if you want to be an inspirational person. I don't know. I think people...
No, you're right. It's called being a professional. It's called being... Ron Artest was not a professional in that moment, man. That was not a professional reaction. What that reaction was a reaction like, yo, I'm a grown-ass man and you threw some drink on me and I'm coming after you. And you, like you said, it don't matter who's in my way. Someone's getting hit. That is consequences and repercussions.
What's sad is if Bill Russell, who had to listen to racial taunts from the stands, even from his own town, if he had retaliated in some way, justified or not, at least back then, I don't think he comes out on top. I mean, times have changed. He probably would. I don't know. I shouldn't talk about probably because I didn't live back then, but I get the feeling like it's not going to end well for him in that sort of an environment, even if he was justified.
You talk about having to have tolerance.
Yeah.
That's what a lot of these guys had.
Yeah. Okay, so I distracted you from the rant you were about to go on earlier. Do you remember what it was?
Yeah, well, it's not necessarily, we don't have to rant and go crazy and take up, I know we've been ranting all kinds of crazy stuff right now in this live. I've just, my goodness. But the Jason Whitlock comments got me because I heard these Jason Whitlock comments, and I just wanted to touch on the Whitlock comments as far as what he was saying and calling Michael Jordan a coach killer. because, like I said, I don't understand where he's coming
Jesus.
from when he says
What?
this. I don't know if he's gonna come out and have a correction or say like, "Hey, man, I misspoke here." But it just, none of this stuff adds up to me. And like I said, I know that Jason Whitlock is not necessarily a LeBron James guy. He's always been against LeBron James. He's been one of LeBron James' biggest, enemies, I guess, if you want to say, in the social media realm, as far as, some of these people, talking about some of the things that he does. But to make some comments like that is asinine. Like I said, when you combine that with the GOAT James Kingdom clowns and the stuff that they continue to pump out, you combine that with what I put out from the House of Highlights and what they were promoting on their channel. We're talking about 17 million subscribers on House of Highlights, over 800,000 followers on their Instagram. And they're promoting videos of a guy, talking about how Michael Jordan's 6-0 record is an overrated stat is the most overrated stat in all of sports. For this person to post something like this to their channel to promote this kinds of stuff, this is what the problem is. You're talking about the reach, the platform that these guys have, and the things that they continue to say. Even if Jason Whitlock is misspeaking, his platform is huge, over 500,000 subscribers for Jason Whitlock. And once again, I go back to what I've always said. Who the hell is Jason Whitlock? And once again, the Go James Kingdom clowns. These people don't know what the hell they're talking about. These people, like Jason Whitlock, is he playing sports? Is this guy a competitor? Is he an athlete? No, he's not, man. He might be a competitive eater, but that's about it for Jason Whitlock. All right? But this guy's supposed to be a journalist. He's supposed to have journalistic integrity. He's supposed to be educating people out here, but he refuses to do this kinds of stuff.
Whitlock strikes me as someone who will blow where the wind takes him. If there was ever a gust of wind strong enough to move that fucking blob, which tempts me to talk about Stephen A. Smith. Fucking guy's so inconsistent. He's so inconsistent. He's so full of shit. So I guess he was decided to talk tough about LeBron confronting him God knows how long ago. But even as he was talking tough about it, he was still complimenting the living shit out of LeBron. And it's like, listen, do you know how you feel or you don't? Your stance on this shouldn't be that much different now than back then. I said it immediately afterward. It's like, Jesus Christ, what are you backpedaling for the very next day? LeBron's escalating it, and how are you responding? You're like, I don't have a problem with it because that was the father doing it. That was the father in LeBron doing it. It wasn't okay no matter what. It wasn't okay no matter what. But oh my God.
No. I want to talk about this too.
Yeah, ambassador. How many times? I know you called this out, Stephen A. calling LeBron James an ambassador. How many times have I said this on the show that Stephen A. Smith always says this shit that doesn't actually mean anything? Tell us how he's an ambassador. Tell us how he's an ambassador. Going to the Olympics and rolling his shoulders and throwing people on the floor and screaming at refs. He's an embarrassment. He's not an ambassador. He's an embarrassment.
Exactly, LH. That's what I was saying. And remember, they made him the ambassador to the United States Olympic team. And I said, I do not want LeBron James representing my country. LeBron James does not represent America, man. This is not what America is supposed to be standing for, guys. Come on, man. This is insane. You think LeBron James stands for American values and what the hell we're supposed to represent out here, man? Who wants to be an American known for flopping and cheating and be American known for trying to take a shortcut? That's not what America's about. America's about putting the work, man. But LeBron James don't value these kinds of things. So once again, they made him an ambassador to the United States Olympic team, which I thought was a complete embarrassment for America overall. That's sad that we look at LeBron James and we would distinguish and honor like that upon someone like that when we've seen what he's done and what he's about. He's a narcissist, man. I mean, my God, I don't understand how people can look at this stuff and think it's okay to do this, man. It doesn't make any sense. When you say that Stephen A. Smith calls him an ambassador, he talked about LeBron James. Oh, I got LeBron James number 2, all time right behind Michael Jordan. When he's saying all these things, this is the problem I have with Stephen A. Smith. You're not keeping it real, Stephen A. Smith. You're not educating the people out there. And like you said, you start talking about like, oh, I don't like LeBron James. If I never talk to him ever again, it'll be okay. I don't have any problem with that. But then you're coming out here and you're continuing to pump these narratives out. The men went on a tirade a complete tirade tearing down all these other great players. Started talking about Jerry West, started talking about Will Chamberlain, started talking about Kobe Bryant, then Shaquille O'Neal. He started naming all these damn players and how they didn't do this, or he named Tim Duncan and they didn't do that, or they came up short here, or they had a problem there, or they played with this guy. He always loves to say, oh, in the crew. He played with this guy in the crew. What crew? LeBron James ain't have a freaking crew around him all the damn time. That's the thing about LeBron James. He always needs a crew and then still loses. But the one thing that I realized, listening to my man Stephen A. Smith talk during that entire time, is that this man has no clue what he's talking about. He has no idea what the hell he's saying. No idea. That was the conclusion I came from ultimately listening to him trying to talk about how LeBron James greater than Kobe Bryant.
So in this episode, because I didn't get as far as you, he's supposedly talking tough about LeBron, and then he proceeds to rip down other players in this, which is always about lifting LeBron. And
exactly. That's the only reason. He went into a tirade with other players. Oh, Jerry West, he's 1-9 in the finals. Jerry West, and Will Chamberlain, he had a losing record. And he naming all these guys and all their shortcomings. Talk about Kobe Bryant and playing with Shaquille O'Neal. And once you mention Shaquille O'Neal, when you talk about Kobe Bryant, you lose me immediately. I don't want to hear what you have to say. You're talking nonsense. With all the help LeBron James went after and got, I don't want to hear about no one else's teammates, man. Make it about the game on the court. Make it about the accomplishments, man. Let me know what the hell I'm trying to understand that you're trying to say. But Stephen A. Smith out here not saying a damn thing. I'm telling you right now, the man does not understand basketball. I don't care. I'm telling you right now. I'm saying it. Stephen A. Smith has no clue what the hell he's talking about. And it's insane because it's either he doesn't really know what he's talking about, or once again, like I tell you with these guys, they're disingenuous. They won't give you the facts on purpose.
Old Heads Media. Somebody took our next podcast name. They already have it. Or no, we're Angry Old Rants. Saying, I just watched the 07 finals, and the glazing they do for someone doing absolutely nothing on the court is just ridiculous. Yes, sir. You might want to go and watch my breakdowns of that if you enjoyed it. I mean, LeBron just missing shit left and right while his teammates are shooting in the 40, 50% range. And Mark Jackson says, LeBron needs to get some help.
It's all you hear. Every broadcast, every time. Shout out to Uncut Hoops.
Yeah, sorry, I clicked that off on accident. What did it say?
He was talking about Stephen A. Smith and how he talks about reeks of someone who walks into the Clutch Sports Club. He wants into it. He wants in. He wants in, Uncut. This dude's clown, man. He's talking some crazy ass Kobe stuff.
Oh,
insane.
And then I saw another one with Skip, and I felt like Skip was sort of dissing Stephen A. Smith while trying to sound like he was complimenting him, because he basically just said what you did. Stephen A. Smith doesn't know what he's talking about and just depends upon the ability to rant, and just keeps going and going and going until something sounds like a point, and then he jumps on it. But he said that Stephen A. Smith would tune in to social media during the break and then change his story in order to go with the flow, which is pretty disgusting. But keeping everyone accountable here, I also think Skip is disgusting for disguising a diss as a compliment. Or those two got together on a show recently and were complimenting the living shit out of each other face to face. And then this is happening a little bit later. This is what these are the things that we don't like. In my opinion, if you're going to be a man or set an example of a man, you don't act one way to somebody's face and act differently when you're not with that person.
Absolutely.
I'd be very disappointed if somewhere down the road I found out that you hated me and what I stood for, but this was an opportunity just to be on here, which I never would think that about you, but you can understand the disappointment.
Absolutely. No, you're right. Or if I'm okay. Go ahead.
Nothing. I'm so defeated by hearing these idiots and their childish behavior, and that this is who's on the media. It just feels like it's hopeless if this is what people are hearing nonstop, or these clowns.
I mean, like you said, with someone like Stephen A. Smith, and for him to have the platform that he has, and like you said, man, it's frustrating sometimes because like you said, it's almost like there's a deeper issue here that, like you said, we got to go dark sometimes in these conversations, man, just to get the point across.
We've got McZuggins with, I think it was McZuggins. Sorry, I just went past it. Lots of good comments in here. Yeah.
Real.
Uncut, thank you for showing the clips of all those dudes in your video of the people that they just matter-of-factly glaze over as if it's a no-brainer that today's players are better than guys from the past. It's not a no-brainer. Lying with confidence, speaking arrogantly, these are tools of today that unfortunately the public fall for. Just get up and start babbling some shit as if there's no question that what you're saying is true and the people will go for it. It's not true. It's not true. And the sad thing is the evidence is right in fucking front of you anytime you want to look at it. Anyway, the real Siberia said, ambassador of embarrassment. That's nice. I like it.
Yeah, I mean, listen, that was an opportunity for Stephen A. Smith to, like I always say, educate people on the platform that he was on. He was on Gills Arena. He had a platform there. They asked him a question, and he was able to elaborate his point. And he went into a bunch of nonsensical rambling. And like I said, what he did was classic Nick Wright, Shannon Sharp, Colin Cowherd type things, where he came with the narratives for LeBron James, all of this stuff. And then he came at a bunch of other all-time greats and talked about how great they weren't because of XYZ. So like you mentioned, he tore these guys down with these narratives and nonsense, talking about Bill Russell. He literally narrowed down Bill Russell to a guy that played defense and rebounded. That's what he said about Bill Russell. He was like, Bill Russell got 11 championships. But you know what Stephen A. Smith does? He goes so quickly and he talks stuff, but he doesn't say anything. So he doesn't do these players the proper service. So he talks about, Bill Russell 11 championships, but he was just mostly defense and rebounding. That's what he did. He was mostly defense and rebounding. You won't say that Bill Russell is recognized by many people as the greatest defender of all time, not just a guy that played defense. What are we talking about here? He's arguably the greatest rebounder in the history of the game. So once again, you're not educating the people when you gloss over Bill Russell that way and you act as if he's just some dude. Like, what are we doing? But then you won't highlight LeBron James' faults and failures in that same manner. He's talking about Kobe Bryant and the seasons that the Lakers were losing. What about the seasons the Lakers been losing? LeBron James won the damn Lakers. And LeBron James was playing with 4 Hall of Famers and they didn't even make a play-in. Come on, man. Kobe wasn't playing with 4 Hall of Famers and not making the playoffs.
LeBron James. Number 2 all time. I don't care what you say. The sky is orange. Stephen A. Smith in the house. Let's roll. Jesus Christ, that guy's fucking annoying. Dipshit.
Bill Russell won 5 MVPs, man. What the hell are you talking about, Stephen A. Smith? Put some respect on these freaking guys' names. He mentioned Jerry West and the losing that he had in the finals. And that's how he glossed over Jerry West. Come on, Stephen A. Smith. He's playing against Bill Russell, the guy you just crapped on. So now you just took away from 2 of the greatest competitors and players in the history of the game just so you can make it seem like you're cool with LeBron James and that you've never disrespected LeBron James, a basketball player, because you got him number 2 all time. Still haven't heard an argument for LeBron James over Larry Bird. But once again, he'll mention these other guys like they were nothing.
Hey, we got to cool it with the Stephen A. Smith talk because we're going to get the Stephen A. Smith fan club in here saying that we're making money off of his back, the way they say. Anytime you criticize somebody.
Yeah, come running out here. Stephen A. Smith, man, come with this nonsense. Like I said, the burden's on him. He's supposed to be educating people out here. He's supposed to be holding the standard.
Be Wonderful Super Chat made me think about something that I wanted clarification on. How does anyone take Gilbert Retard Arenas and the NBA players seriously? So was Stephen A. Smith on Gilbert's show?
Yes, that was Gills Arena, but Gilbert Arenas wasn't there.
Damn. Who the that alone, you can't take him seriously. What the fuck is happening out here? Gilbert Clown Show Arenas.
Yep.
Wait, wasn't he just arrested?
Yeah, not that long.
He's not only is he already back podcasting, but Stephen A. Smith is going on a show.
He got
That's
everybody
great.
coming on there. Everyone's going
That's
on there. I keep telling them, have me on there to do this debate, but they ain't gonna have me on there. Man, I come on there with the same energy I got on here. Once again, Stephen A. Smith putting out nonsense everywhere he goes, but he's supposed to be one of the, he's supposed to be one of the most well-respected guys talking basketball. When a lot of people think basketball, they think of Stephen A. Smith. That's what he's associated with. That's what he's known for. And he sold his integrity. This man doesn't make any sense now. I'm telling you right now, I listened to this guy talk for I don't know how long he rambled on that clip. He rambled on. They let him speak and say whatever. He went on. He didn't say nothing. He said nothing. The man was just talking nonsense. Everything he said was a narrative with no context.
Well, that works when your audience is unintelligent. They hear somebody rambling on, and look, Stephen A. Smith has the gift of gab. Well, people, that isn't enough. A lot of people have the gift of gab. You shouldn't be on national television just because you're capable of blowing steam. Damn. But, and by the way, is this just a strategy? We just keep moving forward with the media to where people forget what has happened? Is Gilbert Arenas innocent now? Has he already been proven innocent, or are we just forgetting that anything ever happened? Well, whatever.
You said something airways before that's really interesting. You mentioned how Stephen A. Smith or Skip Bayless said that Stephen A. Smith would often go look at social media and where people are reacting, and he would often change his stance or go with what the popular take was or the popular opinion or whatever the case may be. I've mentioned one time about how, just because we're doing a show together and we maybe agree more often than not, how there's not really a problem with that if we're keeping the facts to facts. Just because we agree on something or most things doesn't make that an issue. Like you said, when people start to just taking a directing or an opposing view just for ratings and views, that's where you lose the integrity. That's where the problems come in. There's no reason for you guys to talk about a certain angle or a different side of something. But if you're just taking that side just to take the side so that you guys can have an opposing view and you're trying to get clicks and views by saying some outlandish or having a quote unquote hot take, that to me is where they're jacking this all up.
Yeah. See, I don't think I could do that because I'm not here to be an actor. I'm not here to deliver my side of the script against yours. If you didn't have something interesting for me to respond to, this wouldn't work. And if I thought that you were going to agree with any stupid thing that I said, that wouldn't work either. Now, we do agree a lot of the time. We don't agree 100% of the time. Right. But if you countered one of my points, I would expect you to bring a good argument for it so that we could talk about that argument.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Listen, man, we've gone back and forth before with Steph Curry and some of this stuff, the Nicole Jokic stuff. I've gone back with everybody that's been on these panels and on these live streams with us, man. Scapping myself. I used to go back and forth with Rex. I've gone back and forth with Dark before. I've gone back and forth with a lot of people, man. Even me and Nick, man, we've gone back and forth with a lot of stuff. I've gone back and forth with Speen. That's my nature, and that's part of the game. But like you said, for the most part, it's not like us taking an opposing view on something just so we can get people to tune into our show. And that's what a lot of these guys, seems to be what Skip Bayless was alluding to, how they did ESPN First Take, right? And what he mentioned about Stephen A. Smith needing Skip Bayless to do all the homework and do all the legwork so that he can come out with a certain view on something, and then Stephen A. Smith just take the opposing view or reacting to what Skip Bayless is saying. That exposes Stephen A. Smith right there and what I'm talking about, guys.
Praise the Dawn says SNFR, AOH, SCAP, and Two Raw Ticket, Speam, Uncut Hoops, and Hoop God versus the condescending FYF. That's a very unfair fight. I wouldn't even wish that on FYF. The McDonald's, Berkler, Lowe, the 52-year-old Liar Town, Shitbird Arenas, and the rest of those. Oh, it isn't just us against him. I should have read the whole thing. Okay. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, man. Absolutely. I would love to do any of that kind of stuff. Once again, a lot of those guys have a bigger platform than we do. But yeah, man, much respect to all those platforms out there, man. Too Raw and Uncommon, Uncut, all those guys, man.
I've seen enough of FYF and Gilbert and them to know what's coming. They won't talk about the topic at hand if they're losing, and they'll just switch it and say some other things. I don't know. I'm too old for that shit. That's childish debating.
Let's get on the basketball court.
Yeah, I'd be down with that.
Yeah, we probably get cooked out there by Gilbert Arenas.
Yeah, I'm probably not going to do very well against
I'll guard Gilbert
someone
Arenas. Yo,
that
we
big.
ever get a 5-on-5, I got Gilbert Arenas, man. I'm guarding Gilbert Arenas, man. I don't care how many points he gets. I don't care what he tries to do out there, man. I'm guarding that dude, man. I'm gonna make him earn it.
Okay. I think anyone left on our team can guard FYF. You bring one of your kids to guard FYF. The real Siberius says integrity and character are for sale like commodities on the stock market, sold to the highest bidder. Sad but true. Yeah.
Word,
Jesus Christ, this is a depressing show. McZuggins, do you want to bring a little info on here? We'll let you come on for a minute if you're still listening. Go ahead, Robin. I know there's no way that we got to everything you wanted to talk about.
Well, the last thing I talked about, I wanted to mention was the House of Highlights and how the House of Highlights, the guy Omar from the House of Highlights, and some of the narratives, like I said, that they're putting out there, and how we're overrating Michael Jordan's 6-0 record. And the reason why I want to bring this up again and focus on this is because, like I said, it's not the 6-0 record. I don't understand when all of a sudden Michael Jordan being 6-0 in the NBA Finals has become something that we've taken away from, in the sense that we don't mention his 2 3-peats anymore. People are not mentioning this. When this guy from the House of Highlights puts this kind of stuff on his channel, like I said, with the reach that he has, and he allows some fool to say that the 6-0 record is overrated, the most overrated stat in sports, where number one, that's not a stat, number one. But number two, and more importantly, like I said, when you're saying it, talking about it's being overrated, he doesn't mention, this was a 1 minute long clip, that this guy went off on Michael Jordan's 6-0 record. And not one time during that 1 minute clip did he mention the word three-peat. Not once. Not one time. So you're talking about Michael Jordan being 6-0 and how Michael Jordan fans or people try to act like that highlights he never failed, or we act like he only played 6 seasons in the NBA and he always won, right? Instead of focusing on this nonsense that's not even true, these narratives and weird stuff that they say, they never mentioned once that Michael Jordan was not just 6-0, that he had 2 3-peats. And essentially, in 6 full seasons, Michael Jordan won 6 championships. So like we always mention, they're trying to make it seem as if Michael Jordan won a championship one season, and then he failed or lost in the first round the second season, and maybe the next year he didn't make the playoffs, and he was struggling, and he had to wait for Scottie Pippen to, break through again. And Scottie Pippen had a great season in '93, and they finally won again. And that's not what happens. That's not what happens. That's not the reality.
It's massive inconsistency when I hear today's analysts talk about how difficult it is to continue to win the season after getting a championship. You're like, oh, there's all these excuses. The fire just isn't there, or maybe you're tired because you played a longer season than everyone else. All the excuses about how hard it is to come back the next year as even a great team, much less repeating. And these guys are saying that a six, well, it's not a 6-peat, but at 2 3-peats is overrated. 6-0 is overrated. Did you know how easy it would be to just be like, I don't have it in me, man? I had a good run. I guess 5 and 6 will be good enough. This flu game is too much for me. Hey, Scotty is hurt his back. Scotty's got another migraine. Maybe we just aren't gonna pull it off this year. 5 and 6 is good enough. You understand when you say 6-0 isn't that impressive? You're basically welcoming a mentality of letting up at all. When someone doesn't let up at all, that's inspiring. And when you shit on somebody, they're shitting on like one of the only people. No, that's not fair. I can't crap on everyone else from back then just because Jordan beat them. But you're crapping on an era that was full of people who expected a lot of themselves. And they knew it was wrong to rely on excuses. And they appreciated the opportunity, the blessing to play sports as a living.
Yep.
Now these guys fucking complain about their huge contracts. But I'm tired. You guys really expect me to play during All-Star Weekend?
And you preaching right now, AOH, once again, man, on the money. You know, when you talk about these, I remember my dad, when I was growing up, and my dad was a huge basketball fan, like I said, and I got a lot of this stuff from my dad. And I remember him, anytime Michael Jordan was mentioned, he'd always be like, man, Michael Jordan. He's like, 2 3-peats, man. 2 3-peats, Robin. That's what he used to always say to me. And he used to always say the same word. He used the word focus. He said, Michael Jordan had focus. I've never seen focus like Michael Jordan.
So people keep saying the FYF says he wants to play you one-on-one. I don't believe that. He's not dumb enough to say that.
Oh, does it really?
I keep reading it. I keep reading it in the side chat. Hey, let's let
I'm definitely down.
I'm gonna read. I saw somebody comment in one of my videos that I thought was worth reading. Stockton.
I'm going every carry and travel.
yeah. Are we gonna play by actual basketball rules?
I'm 5'9", man. So I don't know how tall he is, man, but I'll play anybody one-on-one, no doubt, man.
Stockton rolling in with the kids in the minivan is still a colder entrance than these guys now walking in looking like extras from Zoolander. All right, McZuggins, you're on.
Hey, what's going on, guys? How are you?
Hey.
Yo, what up, man?
I'm depressed. What a fucking show.
It's just a little bit depressing, but yeah.
You're going to make it even worse if I understand. You've got some hard facts to share.
Yes. I suppose I can try to make it sound good or positive if you want.
Okay. Catch everyone up. This was earlier in the show. You wanted to talk about this, and you were going to matter-of-factly explain how effort has been decentivized in the NBA?
Sir. It's disincentivized, but yes, there's. I feel like it's come up a lot, maybe the last month or two, about the lack of competition or the loss of rivalries. We were talking about like the lack of chemistry and continuity on teams, stuff like that. But I'm gonna do something a little bit more with this, but it just keeps coming up, and I wanted to give you guys a little backdrop. Give everyone a little backdrop, a little insight into some stuff I've been finding over the last couple months. But anyway, in terms of how it used to be incentivized and how all of that stuff is now actively avoided if you want to make money. All of the money comes from not being competitive. The less competitive you are, the better it is for you. It's pretty much how it goes. And I think that that's down to a couple factors. I think there's the league-wide thing of, have y'all ever heard the term BRI? It's a basketball-related income.
No, I don't know.
All right. So in the most basic possible way, media rights, a share of drinks, a share of jerseys, any basketball-related income in the league, whether it's teams, players, or the league overall with like global rights deals, right? Their China deals, all that kind of stuff. That's all BRI. That's what determines what the salary caps are. So the players get, it changes every CBA, but it's usually about 50-50 between the league and the players. So as that goes up, then the max contract goes up. That's how that's determined. Does that kind of make sense? You following that?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Yeah. So the deal is in the 90s, the early 2000s, 80s, 70s, like all the way back, that's kind of always been the deal. But all of the money came from local fan bases watching on cable, off national broadcasts, right? It came off of jersey sales. That's why you see all this stuff now, like selling jerseys or shoes or, you know, whatever they're selling there. Like, ain't nobody going to buy this guy's jersey. The reality is that doesn't matter anymore. The rights deals and the streaming rights deals and all this, the tech plays, the tech company plays, betting companies, cryptocurrency, has driven up BRI so far beyond what the domestic fan base can actually compete with. So players are getting ridiculous salaries, not based on fans anymore. It's not the fan base that funds it. It's the global rights. It's how you look on TV. It's how marketable you are in China, in India, in Europe, in North Africa. That's where your money comes from. So your image is what your money comes from, even within the league. So it's just not based on putting fans in the stands. It's not based on who buys your jersey. Like there's no, that whole like, well, if fans show up, I got to try really hard. Like, well, not that many fans are showing up. Not that many fans are watching. All that matters is how you generally look safe to be put on a billboard or have your own fucking court in the middle of Beijing or wherever the hell it was. That's what actually drives it. That's where the money's coming from. But then beyond that, just to get on a player level, imagine for a second that Michael Jordan or Larry Bird or I don't know, Magic Johnson, Nick Van Exel, especially think of like that tier of player, right? Your Nick Van Exels, John Starks, right? Those kinds of guys. If two things are true, if one, you're not sure if in 1 year or in 2 years, y'all are going to go be on a team together instead of being rivals for the next 5 years or the next 7 years, you maybe don't want to look that, you maybe don't want to make him look bad. Maybe y'all don't want to be dissing each other. You don't want to have beef with each other for this because y'all might be teammates in a year. Y'all might be teammates in 2 years. Like you can't go that hard. But even if that weren't true, what I think the real problem, what I think one of the biggest problems is something that actually Gilbert Arenas, it's funny you guys went to Gilbert Arenas, Gil accidentally revealed this, and he was talking about it in a different way. Like, if anybody saw that clip of him, Kwame Brown, him shitting on Kwame Brown, and how Kwame Brown like now is blackballed by everybody, and he can't get in because he's got too much beef with everybody.
Wow!
I don't know if you saw that whole thing.
No.
It was pretty hysterical, and that's true, and maybe that's true, and yeah, maybe Kwame shouldn't have been talking all that shit. Maybe they shouldn't have been talking shit to him. I don't know. I don't care. It doesn't matter. But if you apply that to what happens on the court, if you guys have to join up and collab, if you guys have to be podcasters together, or you don't want to piss off the wrong podcast network, maybe you don't want a whole bunch of beef. Maybe you can't be trash talking the way that the old players used to trash talk. Maybe you can't go that hard at each other. Maybe you can't make each other look bad. Like maybe you can't actually be that competitive if it would risk any collabs you would have off the court or when your career's done. What are you going to go do? So, but like imagine if these guys back in the day were not competitors, but were looking at each other as potential collaborators. How would that change what happened before? It's easy for us to say that, well, they had enough character and whatever. But like, did everybody in the league really have that? Like, I don't think that's true. I think you put that much money on the table, and I think you're going to start seeing people do exactly what they've been doing for the last 10 years, which is worry about their off the court, groupings, off the court stuff. I don't want to go too far into this, but just so you know, it's not the individual podcast that makes money. Just so everybody's understanding, it's not whose podcast is more popular. These podcasts actually function as ad networks. It's groups of podcasts, 4 or 5, sometimes 8 podcasts together. And then you sell that to advertisers or to Spotify or to some platform. And if you want to advertise on, our number 1, number 2 podcast, you have to buy ad space across all 8 podcasts. They put it all together. So it doesn't matter if you only have a couple people. What matters is that you're in the group, which means you don't piss off the leader of the group, which means you need to fall in line with LeBron James, with Kevin Durant, with Colin Cowherd, with Draymond Green. You need to fall in line with the leaders of those groups, and you can't piss off anybody in that group, or else you can't join.
Well, I mean, it's what you're saying makes sense. I can't, I don't have any means of confirming it for anyone listening. But if you look at what's happening, it falls in line with the pattern, doesn't it? It makes sense.
That's what I think. I think this, and I would love to see someone like Jim or even you, Sports and Fitness, like, you go look at these competing networks and then go look, if the players within those networks hold back on each other compared to their regular like league average or career average or something, that would be just hysterical. I have no doubt that that's true, but that's more stats than I want to deal with in a day.
Hey, McZuggins.
Sad.
All right,
the
real
saddest
quick.
One.
Yeah.
That whole, trying and failing versus not trying at all and sitting out and load managing and sitting on injuries forever. You want to know something sick? Something just unbelievably sick that's just disgusting, that just pisses me off to no end? If you try and fail horribly or get branded as a failure on social media, if that becomes like your look, that you went hard and then you couldn't make it, you couldn't hack it, or you missed the playoffs or whatever happens there. Guys like, okay, think about who's branded this way. I'll do this real fast. Think about who's branded that way. Thinking like failures, right? We're talking Russell Westbrook, Dwight Howard, right? Arguably James Harden, Melo, right? They got that sort of rep for a little while there where they were trying hard and then they failed or they didn't make it or they flamed out or whatever happened. And then everyone branded them a failure, right? Yep. So at the height of that sort of meme, oh, this guy sucks, all of those guys lost endorsements off Adidas. They lost McDonald's. They lost everybody. They lost. They went. James Harden went from Adidas to like Body Armor Sports. You know what I mean? They just lose all their endorsements once they're branded that way. But when you talk about guys who don't try, like Ben Simmons, Zion Williamson, even Kyrie, kind of early on, Andrew Wiggins early on, Lonzo's actually a huge, great example of this, right? If you sit out and you don't actually try, they market you off the potential that you have, or how when you're healthy, you could be this or could be that, or could be, what was that, Mayfield Jordan? Remember that? Like all that kind of stuff becomes the advertising off of the potential if you're healthy, and how unfortunate it is that you're not healthy. And their endorsements went up when they weren't trying.
Yeah. Here, I didn't drop him there. That time it was his connection, and I couldn't understand him at the end. It's a bummer, but you know, if you want to put that together in a presentation, we could talk about it in the future. I got a couple of comments to read. King Speech, I saw you in the back, and then you were gone. But if you wanted to say something really quick before we wrap up the show, hop back on. And McZuggins had, before calling in, had given a super chat. I'll be the GOAT of that game. I can stand in the corner till I just mosh pit through the shoulder shrugs.
That's funny. I like that.
Well, I'm very curious. A lot of people think that FYF has never played basketball in his life, and yet other people are saying that he is straight up challenging you. But I don't know if they're just making a joke. But
well, I mean, listen. The video that I did, I made a video and I referenced him and Go James Kingdom, and I said how these guys did not play sports growing up. They didn't watch these sports. I can tell by the way they talk, blah, 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 blah. And he responded and said that he played D1. That was his response in the comment section to me, that he played D1 with a crying, laughing emoji. And that's fantastic for FYF if he's going to claim that he played Division I basketball. However, when we say and use the term and the word play, what does that really mean? Did you in fact really play, or did you ride the bench? And what Division I school are we talking about here? Because there's a lot of D1 schools. Where did you play basketball at? And like I said, I'm not on here to brag about my athletic endeavors and what I can do. The reason why I referenced, that, and I made that kind of reference, like I said, based off what they say and how they act, but also in the way that he's talked to me and commented about me, like I said, in my appearance, and calling me steroid and fitness rants. So these guys are trying to paint a picture and trying to act as if the things that I've done in my life, the videos that I post on my channel, the stuff that I talk about is not authentic and it's not true. You're trying to act as if I am, in fact, someone like a LeBron James and I've had to cheat my way to look a certain way or be the way that I am. So it's laughable for these guys that act that they can shine my shoes. I also told him, it's funny that he's challenging me to a basketball game. And like I said, I would love to play one-on-one against him or any one of these guys. Like I said, I'm never going to back down to a basketball game. I love playing basketball. And they know I'm going to bring it because I'm a straight-up athlete. And you can see my athletic skills and what I can do when I post these videos that I do. But the one thing that these guys have to understand, man, what I told him is that I challenged him to post a video of him doing any of the workouts that I've done on my channel. So it's interesting because I've never challenged any of those guys to a one-on-one competition. What I said is that they're not athletes and that they've never played sports growing up. So if he's claiming that he did play basketball growing up or he played basketball D1, that's fine and great. If he wants to challenge me to a one-on-one competition, that's great too. But the one thing that I know he did not say and did not respond and say that he would post a video of him doing any of the workouts that I've done on my channel. So if you're going to accuse me of using steroids or any kind of substances or chemicals doing these workouts and the reason why I look the way that I do and all these kinds of things, then you must, like I said, be willing to put yourself on camera and back up your mouth with some actions. Go out there and make a video, do a workout, and then we can worry about playing one-on-one, my man, because you couldn't shine my shoes athletically or physically fit-wise.
And I hate to burst your bubble, but you don't look that good. You look good, but you don't you don't look steroids
You know I
good.
look that good.
So Meg has challenged FYF multiple times here. Meg, you are a woman, right? Not that means you couldn't beat him. I'm just making sure that this is what we're talking about.
Like I said, man, I'm not on here to brag about my athletic endeavors and what I've accomplished or done in my life or any of these kinds of things. But I've told people many, many times, man, that I played this stuff growing up. I played multiple sports, man, 3 different sports from the time I was 6, 7, 8 years old, all through high school, man. So like I said, I've been an athlete my entire life. Me and my family, my brothers. I'm the oldest of 4 boys, man. One of my brothers tried out for the NFL. This is the things that, someone like something that my brother has accomplished. This is the level of athleticism that's been in my family. Me, myself, I was recruited by several Division I schools to play football. Several Division I schools to play football. So like I said, I'm not here to brag about myself and what I could have done or where I could have played or where I did play or didn't play. I know what I can do now at 44 years old. And there are people on this earth that are half my age that can't do what I can do at my age.
I know the feeling. Fucking 50-year-old playing with 20-year-olds. I know. When dudes get personal, they are weak, says Rise Above Anything. Yeah, it's not a good sign. It's not a good sign when you have to start hurling personal insults. Well, King's Speech, I don't know what was up with the audio, but we'll try another time.
Shout out to King's Speech Roll.
Robin, shall we wrap it?
Yeah, man, we rocked and rolled on this one, man. It's a great show, man. So if you want to do that, I see King's Speech Roll stuff came in.
Let's check your audio. Can we hear you? Can you hear us?
Hey, can you guys hear me by any chance?
Yes.
I can hear you.
Check.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, I think he can't.
Go.
He can't hear us.
That's the problem. I can't. This new thing I cannot hear.
Just go.
Just go. Talk.
How do you mime that? I'm putting it in the chat.
We can hear you. Go. Talk. Now, maybe he can't see us.
There, it's on the screen.
Just go, King's Speech. Just roll. Just hit it. Yeah, maybe we'll try to catch him on the next one, maybe.
We got another super that I'll read. All right. It's McZuggins again. Hey, McZuggins, thank you. Very, very generous. King's Speech. Look at what's on the screen right now. If you call in again, just start talking.
Just start talking.
McZuggins, sorry, phone died. Point is, more endorsements for not trying. Lose endorsements for trying and losing. Tens of millions. All the money in non-competitive. It's disgusting. Cheers. Thank you for having me. I know what he's saying. And thank you for the super. And it takes more bravery to try, doesn't it? On the other hand, you miss all the shots that you don't take. So if you want to reach greatness, you have to take those shots. And some people make it, like Jordan. Some people don't make it and then use the media to convince you that they made it anyway.
I think it's time to wrap it up, man. I'm gonna roll up out of here. I think we put in some good work today.
Hey, all right, King's Speech. Sorry, that was it. You missed the window. We'll try next time. Thanks, Robin. Thanks, everybody, for your support. We will catch you on Sunday.
That's right, man. You guys know the deal, man. Shout out to all you guys that came through again. My man, LH, enjoy the rest of your day. Everybody, enjoy the rest of their Wednesday. And you guys know the deal.